Hello guys, welcome back to the final episode of my sub-series of lyrical analysis on Oasis album, What's the Story, Morning Glory. And today I'm going to be talking about Champagne Supernova, which is one of my favorite songs of all time, and I actually think there's a lot. People think it's abstract and it doesn't really mean anything, and I know Noel Gallagher himself says he doesn't quite know what it means, but I think there is a ton to unpack here actually. And this is one of my favorite songs to think about and analyze, and I actually think there is a lot going on here. So, I also love how this is structured on the album right after Morning Glory. So it comes down after Morning Glory, which is such a frantic and insane song, and it's about cocaine. Champagne Supernova is more about, well, first of all, champagne, obviously alcohol, and maybe other things like weed, or like slow, more chill drugs, I guess I would say. Things that, like, more downers as opposed to uppers is the vibe I get from this song. So, but this is definitely about the complex nature. This is my interpretation of the song. This is not conclusive. This is not what Noel Gallagher said. This is just what I think. The complex nature and mixed feelings that come with addiction. Welcome back to my channel! Don't do drugs, kids. Don't drink until you're 21. Please, just don't do it. So, without further ado, I'm going to go straight into the lyrics. So, here it is. How many special people change? How many lives are living strange? Where were you while we were getting high? So, again, the how many special people change, how many lives living strange, it's just kind of like, also this is like a very existential crisis song. That's a weird way to say it, but like, I love songs like that. Again, I freaking love Bohemian Rhapsody that opens with, is this the real life, is it just fantasy? I could do a whole episode on that song. I absolutely love songs which have like a lot of like existential confusion. It's really relatable to me. I really get a lot of emotions when I listen to this song, as with that song. So, again, how many special people change? So it's almost like special people change. I'm not really sure if it's asking like how many special people change, like how many of them change, like special people mostly stay the same, or if it's commenting on how many special people change. I'm not really sure what the tone of this is, but it's a really interesting like question to ask regardless, and it's about special, like people who are special. How do they change, and do they change? And I would say yes. And even looking at the Gallaghers, there's special people who have changed. And change is not always a bad thing at all. I think Liam has honestly changed for the better. I love Liam Gallagher, don't get me wrong. And he still throws out stupid insults on Twitter, and I love him for it, but that's not the point. Noel has maybe changed for the worse. I wouldn't say worse like he's a bad person, but just he has some issues to work out. But that's not, and Liam does as well. They're both humans. Let's not talk about that right now. Let's alright, let's get back to the video. Where were you while we were getting high? Now, this is an interesting line right there, because this line to me has a double meaning. It's like almost, where were you while we were getting high? Like, dude, you're missing out on the fun. Where were you while we were getting high? But also, where were you while we were getting high? I need your help. You should stop us. Get me off of this. Get me off of these drugs. Where were you telling me to stop? You weren't there for me telling me to stop. So it's like such a, is paradox the right word? Between, and this song has that, a lot of conflicting things in it. I think this line in and of itself is a conflicting theme. Where were you while we were getting high? 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 Where were you? It's such an interesting, how it's almost like, dude, we're getting high, we miss you, can you come over and get high with us? But at the same time, it's like, help me out of this hell. Which is the vibes I get from this song a lot. And I know Noel Gallagher says he doesn't entirely know what it means, but maybe it was subconscious. Maybe when he wrote the song, he had like subconscious feelings about this stuff, and it just projected into this song. There's definitely something deeper going on than a nonsense song here. So moving on to the next line, slowly walking down the hall, faster than a cannonball. Where were you while we were getting high? This line resists analysis. When you're on drugs, stuff is weird. running to stand still. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, so when you're on drugs, stuff is weird. Stuff doesn't make sense. You can't... Cannonballs are fast, so how can you slowly walk fast? It doesn't make sense. How can you slowly walk fast? You can't. It doesn't work. This is a theme we'll see in this song, and this ties into the chorus, which we'll get into in a minute. Slowly walking down the hall, faster than a cannonball. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't need to make sense. The point is that it's two things that don't make sense. How can you fly and run at the same time? I'm talking about I Am the Walrus. See how they fly like Lucy in the sky, see how they run. How can you can't do that. It doesn't make sense. When you're on drugs, things don't make sense. I wouldn't know. I've never been on drugs, but I've listened to a lot of music, so I get an idea. So here we go on to the chorus, which is where I think there's really a lot to break down. Someday you will find me caught beneath the landslide in a champagne supernova in the sky. Someday you will find me caught beneath the landslide in a champagne supernova in the sky. This is only really 3 lines, it just kind of repeats, but there is so much to break down here. So, someday you will find me caught beneath the landslide in a champagne supernova in the sky. Now, the first interesting thing about this, caught beneath the landslide in a champagne supernova in the sky. You'll find me caught beneath the landslide in the sky. Again, that doesn't make sense. Slowly walking down the hall faster than a cannonball. It doesn't make sense. It cancels itself. How can you be in the sky and also beneath a landslide? We'll get into that in a minute. So, going on with the concept of a supernova. A supernova is something that's like a pretty thing to marvel at until you realize the sun is getting destroyed and you're all going to die. I'm sorry if my version of this song will get a bit morbid at points, but this is my interpretation of it. So, it's something that's pretty and seems nice and fun and pretty and attractive on the outside, but is slowly destroying you. I know champagne supernova just sounds like a psychedelic cool thing, but it's also slowly destroying you. Again, caught beneath the landslide in a champagne supernova in the sky. Now, let's talk about, again, obviously champagne is not that strong. I mean, I don't drink, but it's not like vodka or something. So I think champagne supernova is something that sounds good together. It's not specifically about even a specific kind of alcohol or drugs. It doesn't matter that it's about champagne specifically. It's not champagne specifically. It's just about addiction to drugs and or alcohol in general. And going back to this, again, caught beneath the landslide in a champagne supernova in the sky. Champagne supernova, there is a lot. There is an abundance. There is an explosion of champagne. Too much alcohol. Okay? In the sky. So, this landslide here could mean a number of different things. What I personally think is it's the landslide of the addiction, or going back to our themes, the landslide of fame, or the landslide of the things that you're stuck. Whatever it is, you are stuck. Someday you will find me stuck. I'm just stuck here. I can't get out of this. Which goes back to the theme of where were you while we were getting high? Where were you? Get me out of this hell. Where were you? So yeah. You're just stuck. So, very interesting point to make there. Caught beneath the landslide of addiction in a champagne supernova in the sky. In other words, while you're on whatever the substance is, it feels great. It feels wonderful. You're up in the sky. You're happy. You're up there. But at the same time, the lifestyle is slowly destroying you, and you're caught beneath the landslide. That right there about sums up my thoughts on the song. I think it's about the complex nature of addiction, how when you're doing something it feels great, but it's slowly destroying you. And going back to champagne, It could literally be a landslide. If you're in the sky, you're in heaven, maybe you died. Like, maybe if you take it literally, a landslide could be watch for falling rocks. You're drinking, you don't drunk drive, kids. But I think it's more of a figurative landslide in this case. Okay. Wake up the dawn and ask her why. A dreamer dreams, she never dies. Wipe that tear away now from your eye. So I love wake up the dawn and ask her why. It's just such a poetic line. A dreamer dreams, she never dies. Someone who's a dreamer. Again, there's a lot of themes of immortality here. And also in Live Forever. This is kind of revisiting some of the themes of Live Forever. So very interesting thing to go there. So then, again, slowly walking down the hall, faster than a cannonball, where we were getting high. And then the chorus, again, which is a repeat. And then the last part I'm going to talk about is this little bridge bit, which does get repeated at one point. So, because people believe that they're gonna get away for the summer, but you and I, we live and die, the world's still spinning round, we don't know why. So, again, my dad commented on this, I was like, what does that mean? Some people believe we're gonna get away for the summer. It's almost like, one, it could be like a figurative escape, going back to the escape here. It could be, like, very figurative, it could be like, can we escape this lifestyle? Can we escape this? How can we escape this situation? Or it could be literal. When we were kids, we were too poor to go away for the summer. We're not like those rich blur kids. We're not like Damon Albarn. We can't go to the beach. We can't go to our country house in the summer. We're like poor kids. But we just live and die. That's all we can do. We just live our lives and then we die. We don't get privilege because we're poor. That's the literal. Also, no shade to Damon Albarn. I'm just using an example of, like, the difference between them. Such an interesting, the difference between a lifestyle, it really is a privileged lifestyle, and I have always been jealous of, like, suburban kids. When I was a kid, I was always jealous of that. So it's definitely something that I can feel the Gallaghers were really talking about and, like, dealing with here. So, the world's still spinning round. We don't know why. Why? It's, again, very existential kind of crisis. So we don't know why. Why do we even exist? And the way he says it, it just sounds so desperate. Like, the way he sings it just sounds so desperate for answers that you're never going to get. So, and then that's about it for the breakdown. That's about it for the lyrics. So, and at the end they repeat, we were getting high a lot. They repeat that. We were getting high. We were getting high. We were getting high. So they try to repeat that. Again, could be talking about how you are stuck in this lifestyle, which is similar themes to that in Morning Glory, but it's such a different approach, such a different sound, such a different vibe from this song as opposed to Morning Glory. I'll say this in conclusion. Champagne Supernova is Oasis magnum opus. Champagne Supernova is Oasis Day in the Life. Like, the Beatles made Day in the Life. Oasis made Champagne Supernova. In conclusion, I think this album has a lot to do with Noel Gallagher suddenly got really famous and was dealing with that, dealing with a lot of those feelings, and was also a lot to do with addiction, drugs, and the stuff that's going on at the time. I think this is a really honest album, really honest look at this stuff, and I just really love it in general. It's probably one of my favorite albums of all time. I didn't discover it that long ago. It wasn't even that long ago I discovered it, but like now that I've listened to it so much, it's just like really close to me, and I really love it a lot. If you enjoyed this series, click like and subscribe. I'll probably do some like single songs and some simpler stuff next. I'm not really sure what I'll do next exactly. I might do Bohemian Rhapsody. That's not simple, but I might do that. And I might do, but I'll probably do some Beatles stuff in the future, so stay tuned for that. And I hope this new series, I hope you guys like this new series. Without further ado, so I'm just going to head out right now. Thank you so much for watching the video. Bye!